Okay, so for the past 4 months, I've been on this amazing program called Semester at Sea. And one of the coolest parts of being a staff member on Semester at Sea is I got to run the shipwide book club, which was so much fun. And so basically, after each country that we visited, we would then read a book related to the country we had just visited. So for Thailand, we read Bangkok Wakes to Rain. For Vietnam, we read The Sympathizer. For Malaysia, we read Dragon by Rose Gann. For India, we read The White Tiger by Aravind Adhika. And the point of these readings were to further contextualize the place we just visited, knowing that every country is infinitely complex and that you could visit a country a million times and read a million books about a place and still not know it fully. But we wanted to have the narrative voice of fiction as sort of an entry point to further understand the places we were going from someone who actually lived in one of those countries. And we didn't want to just limit it to only fiction. We also wanted to have memoirs of people who have lived in these countries, were leaders in these countries. Like after we visited Kenya, we read Unbowed by Wangari Maathai. And this was one of my favorite books that we read over the whole voyage. A lot of us returned to a classic that we loved, Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I'm sure you've probably read it at some point. This book is monumentally famous. And when we went to South Africa, we read Born a Crime, which was awesome. And I also wanted to, because I was very conscientious about like the POVs that we were taking in the most, making sure that we were coming from diverse perspectives. So as we read this book in tandem, we also read this wonderful Zimbabwean author I love called Tsitsi Dangaremba. And she wrote this amazing book called Nervous Conditions that I read during my African Literary Masterpieces class in college. And we also read her essay collection at the same time we read this book. And that essay collection is called Black and Female. It was excellent. I absolutely loved it. And the two were both tackling a lot of the same topics, but in a completely different stylistic way. It was really cool to see. So after South Africa, we sailed to Ghana and we read Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. I used to think this author's name was pronounced Yaa Gyasi, but it's actually pronounced Yaa Gyasi. This book is an incredible, like I'm so amazed that they were able to tackle so many distinct perspectives over hundreds of years. It still blows my mind. After that, from Morocco, we read Hope and Other Dangerous Pursuits by Leila Lalami. Following that, after our time in A Coruña, Spain, we read The Time of Doves. And the last book we read to cap off our voyage where we docked in Bremerhaven, Germany, we read All is Quiet on the Western Front. Now, the boat was the primary mechanism by which this book club took place. Like we would meet in a restaurant on the boat and talk about the books at a given time. But we all loved book club so much, like we didn't want it to end. And so what we decided to do, which is really just so thrilling, is we decided to keep it going virtually. So once a month, every month, we'll continue to read a book from a different country around the world, preferably a book that is written by someone who grew up in that country, who lives in that country, who is from that country. But we're also opening it to books that just took place in that country. And for those who want to follow along, our next book club pick is for Papua New Guinea, and it's A Death in the Rainforest.